You're in tune to 93.1 Real FM.
It's 19 hours and it's now time for the 93.1 Real FM News in Detail. I'm Gabriela Patram. We're so happy that you can join us locally. The government of Venezuela has rejected President Irfan Ali's account of the border controversy as misrepresentations and has now issued a call on Guyana to abandon its case from the International Court of Justice. In a release one day after President Ali's address at the UN General Assembly and raised the ongoing Venezuelan claim, the Nicolas Maduro government in Caracas accused the oil companies exploring offshore Guyana of derailing the ties between Guyana and Venezuela. Guyana's position is that the dispute was settled way back in 1899. Although Venezuela said it's committed to having the matter resolved in the best interest of both countries, it continues to lay claim to the Guyana's Essequibo region. In its latest statement, the Venezuelan government said the will of the Venezuelan people is firm and it will not renounce its territorial claim. The Venezuelan government has accused President Ali of having a victimizing posture and further accuses him of attacking the Geneva Agreement. Guyana is currently before the International Court of Justice seeking a final and binding judgment from the court that the 1899 arbitral award, which established the location of the land boundary between the then British Guyana and Venezuela, remains valid and binding, and that the Guyana's Essequibo region belongs to Guyana and not Venezuela. President Irfan Ali today shot down claims that the recent police killings amount to a return to extrajudicial killings under the People's Progressive Party government. At a press conference in New York, the president said he cannot respond to questions about extrajudicial killings in Guyana since such killings never existed. And talk about extrajudicial killings is nothing but lies. In the past year, members of the Guyana police force have been involved in at least 3 shooting deaths of unarmed men. In at least one of the cases, a police officer is facing a charge of an unlawful killing. The other 2 cases, including the recent shooting death of an Essequibo businessman, are still being investigated. The president said he is confident that a police officer of professional responsibility will do a good job of investigating the incidents, but he dismissed concerns about extrajudicial killings. He said the term fits into a political narrative. The U.S. State Department and the Guyana Human Rights Association in a number of separate reports referred to the problem of extrajudicial killings in Guyana between 2000 and 2005. The recent police shooting of the Essequibo businessman resonated fears of the police going outside of the law during their operations. On the international scene, U.S. President Joe Biden has said that people will pay after images emerge showing border agents corralling migrants on horseback back to a river. The pictures shared widely online show riders using their reins against the migrants and pushing them back towards the Rio Grande in Texas. U.S. officials have vowed to investigate the incident, which occurred near a migrant camp in downtown of Del Rio. The Del Rio camp grew over to 15,000 persons before being cleared on Friday. I take responsibility, Mr. Biden told reporters at the White House on Friday. It was horrible to see people treated like they did, with horses nearly running them over, people being strapped. It's outrageous. The images of the horseback charge on mostly black migrants have been condemned by lawmakers and sparked comparisons to America's slavery era. In his first public remark on the situation in Del Rio, Texas, where thousands of mostly Haitian migrants massed this week, Mr. Biden added, "I promise you those people will pay. They will be investigated, and there will be consequences." And finally, in the world of sports, West Indies will have Kieron Pollard as their leader when they defend the ICC T20 World Cup title in the United Arab Emirates next month. Standing 6 feet 5 inches tall and well-muscled, he is an imposing figure, and that also translates to his power and might at the crease. He took over the captaincy in September 2019 ahead of the series against Afghanistan in India and has led from the front. With his aggressive style and team-first mantra, West Indies have seen improvements in their performances. He was at the center of attention earlier in March when he wrote his name in history against Sri Lanka in the CG Insurance T20 series. With the match on the line, Pollard hit 6 sixes in 1 over, becoming the first man to do so for West Indies at the international level. In a recent interview, he said he was excited by this year's competition. And that's the 93.1 Real FM News in detail. Credits to News Source, BBC, and Cricket West Indies.